Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat basketball channel and the Miami Heat Zone podcast. My name is Amir, and I am joined by Martel. What's up, Martel? How are you doing tonight?
Let's get it.
Miami Heat just won back-to-back games on the road. So they beat the 76ers on the road tonight, 109 to 104. So we wanted to hop on, do a real quick recap for you guys. But before I do, I just want to thank everybody for their continued support of my channel. I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could please subscribe to my channel, that would mean a lot. Martel just hit 3,000 subscribers. So he's super pumped about that. So if you guys can subscribe to his channel, he's on his path to 4,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. And then, of course, Trent and Ernest are not here today, but don't forget to sub to their channels as well. So anyway, Miami Heat won, I guess, a nail biter kind of game. I mean, it was a back and forth close game throughout the entire game for the most part. The Heat were down a little bit in the beginning. I know the first quarter was tied, down 2 at halftime, and then the Heat took a 3-point lead after the third. And the fourth quarter was back and forth. So pretty exciting game, even though both teams were super shorthanded. And, you know, the Sixers were missing, obviously, the MVP, Joel Embiid. They were missing Tobias Harris and DeAndre Melton and a whole bunch of other players. And we know who the Heat are missing, the same three. So big win because the Miami Heat, again, on a back-to-back, were able to win on a road against a pretty decent team still. So I think it's a big victory to close out before the All-Star break. The Miami Heat are now 30-25, 7th seed. And I think we're like half a game behind the Pacers now for the 6th seed. So good way to end the game before the All-Star break. So Martel, I'll pass it over to you. Great game. What were your thoughts overall on the game itself?
Just another big win, you know. No Jimmy Butler, no Terry Rozier, no Josh Richardson. And for them to also be on the road, beat the Milwaukee Bucks, beat the 76ers, it's a huge W because every single win right now counts. We're in the 7th spot. Hopefully we can get up to the 5th spot. You know, a great game by Bam Adebayo at 23 and 14. Just an all-around game from everybody, and especially Duncan Robinson. And one thing we have to talk about is that should Duncan Robinson go back to the bench when everyone gets back? Because don't get me wrong, Terry's nice, but Tyler and Duncan, the way that they're playing, the way that the ball is just moving around, they look absolutely phenomenal.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Do you think Terry Rozier would be willing to sacrifice and go to the bench when he comes back after he's healthy?
Spo has to do whatever it takes to win games and for the offense to flow its best. Because think about it, it's a shame that when people are out, that's when our offense is clicking on all cylinders. We're putting up points, like 109 points. Like what do we have yesterday? Like 120. So whatever it takes for this Miami Heat team to win, that's what I want to do. I don't care if Jimmy Butler has to come off the bench. If we win the game, if we continue to push through the first, second, and third round, that's all I care about and get out of the plan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just so funny when we're short-handed, as Spo yesterday was saying, don't say that in front of the guys. They'll piss them off, but we are obviously short-handed, and we play with more urgency, which is pretty damn annoying, right? This team is just so up and down with its consistency all throughout the year, especially offensively. Defensively, they'll have their moments where they have lapses and whatnot, but they've been playing a lot better on that end. And I think that's why we've won, 6 out of the last 8 games or so after we've had that disastrous 7-game losing streak, which made us free fall in the standings. But right now, we're still within striking distance of the 5th seed. And I don't know. Yeah. Like Spo is stubborn when it comes to his rotations. Like he's always willing to tinker and give some guys opportunities, but that's only when injuries at specific positions. So I don't know. I think Terry, it would maybe make sense to just sacrifice him and put him on the bench because he's the odd man out. Like he's the new guy, and we can give him the keys to owning that 6th man kind of role and spot. And, you know, he could break down starting lineup defenders, right? And crush those types of players, not specifically since he's been on the Heat, but when he was on the Hornets, averaging 24 points, he'll get more shots, more opportunities. And I think he's going to have more spacing in a sense where Jimmy and Bam, if he's not playing with them directly, then they're operating in the paint, in the mid range, where he likes to go downhill. So I think that would be beneficial for him to come off the bench with like a Caleb and a Hawkes or whoever it may be, and Kevin Love, and be the anchor. And so one more stat I want to give real quick before I pass it back to you, Martel. But Duncan, 20 points tonight, right? And he scored 20 points on, let me look at that, 7-11 shooting, 5 for 7 from three. He was 5 for 5 from three until he missed two difficult ones in the fourth quarter. But we're 10-0 now when Duncan Robinson scores 20 plus, and we're 12-1 or 13-1 now technically after he scores 18 plus. So I don't know, man. Do you think that makes sense sacrificing Terry right now to get Tyler in the starting lineup, or do we bring up the conversation about Tyler Hero obviously going to the bench as a sixth man?
Well, the biggest thing right now is since Terry Rozier has the sprained knee, I still don't think he'll be ready by the time the All-Star break is over, which is fine. We're going to continue to have this Miami Heat team roll. Start Tyler Hero, start Duncan Robinson, and then, like I said, then we'll start to tweak around. But I'm the biggest proponent when guys are on just like an elite run, full of confidence, hitting all their shots. You cannot mess that up and ruin that routine or just ruin their rhythm by putting them on the bench. I don't know what it is. I know it's not a good excuse to say, well, he plays better, starting, but whatever it is, it's about winning games right now. You know what I mean? Listen, I like Terry, but his shot really wasn't falling while he was playing. He was doing other great things, but right now it's about winning games and just getting into a better spot so that we're not playing the Boston Celtics in the first round.
Yeah, we need to avoid the eighth spot at all costs. But yeah, man, Duncan's been spectacular as a starter this year. And, his average points per game was like 16, 17 or so. While he was starting, it's dropped pretty dramatically, and he's been pretty inconsistent off the bench. But for some reason, when he's in that starting lineup right now, and I think it has to do a little bit with playing next to Bam Adebayo, he just seems more confident, and his three-point shot is more crisp. And that pick and roll with Bam is awesome because the beginning of the game, both teams came out on fire, especially the Sixers. They were 9 for their first 11 shots and 3 for 4 from three. And the Heat were shooting like 7 for 10 or 11 also. And in that first 2 minutes or so of the game, Duncan Robinson was playing pick and roll with Bam Adebayo, and he had 2 alley-oops to Bam Adebayo. So huge pick and roll opportunity with Duncan on the floor. And then, of course, Tyler and Bam are pretty good in the pick and roll as well, or the pick and pop. So I think that's good for Bam having both Tyler and Duncan on the floor because he's able to get into that mid range, that post up move he likes to do now with that like Hakeem dream shake, back to the basket type move. And if he gets double teamed, then he has more shooters around him to shoot, right? So, I mean, him and Jimmy need more shooters around them. I don't think we need necessarily another kind of ball handler like a Terry Rozier on the court. And it just doesn't seem like it's working with Tyler and Terry effectively. Not saying it can't work, but I don't know, man. I like Duncan out there. He's playing really well. Tyler played well tonight too, even though he kind of pissed me off a little bit in that fourth quarter. But hey, we don't win this game without Tyler Hero. 23 points, 7 board, 7 assists, but I think it was 1 for 8 from three, and he took a couple bad shots in that, which we can get into. But what are your thoughts on Tyler tonight?
The biggest thing for Tyler here tonight is that he started getting to the rim. He started creating rim pressure, and that's the thing because, during the offseason, he said he wanted to get to the free throw line. He wanted to actually get to the rim, make more layups. That's what he did tonight because when his shot's not falling, he has to realize, you know what? Let me just be a decoy. Let me do the mid-range game. Let me try to get to the rim. Let me try to get to the free throw line. That's how you catch rhythm. So, just for the beginning of the game for him to do that, which is huge, because now he's finally learning that you don't got to chuck up so many shots. You don't have to get to the free throw line, try to create rim pressure, even just a driving kick. Just act like you're getting to the rim, just so that another guy can get open, and that's what he did tonight.
Yeah, his handles are looking a little more crisp too. He's just dribbling a little bit better, getting to the paint, specifically this game. And I think the big factor here was no Joel Embiid, obviously, with the rim protection. And so huge having what was his name, Paul Reed, starting in, who actually played really good, which was frustrating that he was able to get like 17 or 18 on Bam tonight, which is unfortunate. But Bam played good overall defensively, so no complaints there. But he was getting downhill to your point. And it's kind of funny, though, because he did get fouled and had 3 free throws in the first quarter. And that's all he had for the rest of the game. So that's like the biggest piece. Like if he wants to increase his points per game and become like a Devin Booker-esque type player, he's going to need to get to the line like 7 to 8 times per game. He needs to like learn how to pump fake, get people in the air, and play through contact like Jimmy Butler does. Because when Jimmy has a big game and scores 28, 30 points, it's based on having double-digit free throws. So if Tyler wants to increase that average scoring, he needs to do better. Like I thought he got to the free throw line a lot more, but I'm like, he only had 3, and that was after the first quarter, even though he was getting to the rim, finishing at the rim, missed some bunnies here and there, but he was actually trying to do normal layups and getting all the way to the rim versus his typical floater. So good to see him take some easier mid-range shots this game. He did take the most shots, 23, which is quite a lot. He shot 44% from 2, which is good, but he was just 1 for 8 and at 3. And he had some kind of boneheaded shots, I think, in the fourth quarter specifically. So as the Heat like to do, they're very torturous, and they were up by 8 with a minute or less left in the game. And then we had a turnover by Tyler Hero, a bad pull-up jump shot with like 10 seconds left on the shot clock by Hero, and I think it was a goaltending by Bam, which brought them within 3. But we were able to hold on to the lead and win by 5, which was, again, a huge victory for the Miami Heat on the road. And we need some rest. We need to recover. And I think when's our next game, Martel? Is it next Friday, I guess, versus the Pelicans? I think
Yeah,
that's it, right?
yeah, should be close to the end of this month. So we got to get some rest. We got to be able to heal up a little bit and just tinker with the lineups. And like I said, finish the season strong because, like I said, every game counts. Every game counts going forward. Hopefully, Jimmy Butler can shake off the rust when he gets back. Hopefully Terry and Josh, they'll be ready to go, and we'll see what the Miami Heat could do.
Yeah, and right now this depth is helping us win, which is great. So even though we are banged up, we've always mentioned throughout the season we're one of the deepest teams in the NBA, and we always have that slogan or motto like stay ready so you don't have to get ready, like when your number is called upon. And so let's talk about the bench real quick before we close up. So we had Haywood Highsmith and Hawkes, pretty much the 2 main guys that we were playing. Kevin Love and Jamal Cain played, but I was surprised to see that Kevin Love only played 12 minutes, and he only took 2 shots, 2 points, but 6 rebounds, which were obviously important. But yeah, let's talk about the bench real quick because we outscored them 40 to like 17 or something. So what are your thoughts on Highsmith and Hawkes tonight?
Listen, man, Jaime Jaquez Jr., he's just continuing to round himself back into shape. Like, I know that a lot of people want to see him like how he was like in the beginning of the season, but I'm not really too worried about it. He's continuing to cut and slash to the rim, getting all those easy layups. Same thing like with Haywood Highsmith. His shot was falling, but then it wasn't at the same time because he missed a lot of shots, but he kept his confidence up and he continued to shoot throughout the game, and he finished with 16 points. So you really can't complain about that. And of course, his great defense.
Yep. 16 points, 4 for 10. Like they were giving him that. It wasn't just the corner 3, but I think a majority of them were the corner 3, but they were leaving him open, like kind of how PJ Tucker was left open in that corner when he was on the team. And, he missed the first 3 or so. And I think the announcer said he's missed 13 of the last 14 threes in the span of a few, like 3 or 4 games. And luckily he hit his next 2, but I'm not going to complain if he shot 4 for 10. He shot 40%. Not necessarily want Haywood to take 10 3-pointers. He took the most threes on the team tonight, but that's the looks that he was getting, and he hit 40% of them, and that's huge. Jaime, again, coming off an injury, and he's getting back in shape, back in form, and he was crushing it. Like it was either the second or third quarter, he had like 3 layups in a row to get 6 points really quickly. So of course, again, great off ball movement, great cutting backdoor, weak side cuts. So energy type player, which is great. 12 points, 9 rebounds, which is huge. That's the second most he's had in the season so far. He also had 3 assists, 6 for 12 shooting, which is great. So he improved his efficiency out there in the field. 0 for 2 from 3. So like his 3-point shot has been kind of down for the last 10 games or so. So he needs to get back and improve that. But I think that was kind of an anomaly in the beginning of the season when he was shooting like 40% for a while. And that's dropped significantly. But kudos to those guys, man. And he had one of the biggest plays in the game when we were up by 3 with like 40 seconds left or so. Duncan, at the end of the shot clock, had to shoot a 3 in the corner that was contested, almost went in, bounced out, and then he had the tip in dunk, which I think was one of the biggest moments in the game. So huge play for a rookie. Guy's always active, has a motor. So kudos to those guys. So happy for the win, man. So yeah, they have a week off or so, whatever it is. So just something that we needed was to just have some momentum going into the break, and then hopefully we can come back a little bit more whole. And I don't think we need to worry about Jovic. Talking about him in the rotation, as we saw tonight, he kind of came back down to earth and didn't really play a lot. But I think there's going to be a real conversation about when Terry and Jimmy come back in about Duncan Robinson and his role in the starting lineup. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, anything you want to end on, Martel?
Just make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe to all of our channels, and we appreciate all the support.
Thank you so much. And we will be back. Hopefully we could do some episodes. We're not going to wait till next week to do another roundtable. We all have our own channels, obviously, so we'll be posting individual content as well. But we're going to try to get together during the All-Star break and put out another video for you guys. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. And again, like Martel said, don't forget to subscribe to our channels. Have a good one.